The Tran Dynasty was one of the most glorious periods in the history of Vietnam, not only because of its resounding victories against the powerful Mongol Empire, but also due to the emergence of brilliant generals who were loyal and devoted to the nation. Among them, four exemplary figures stand out as enduring symbols of intelligence, courage, loyalty, and unwavering patriotism. Tran Quang Khai, Pham Ngu Lao, Kieu, and Da Tuong. Tran Quang Khai, a royal prince with both wisdom and bravery, was not only a brilliant strategist, but also a deeply patriotic poet. He played a crucial role in the victories at Trung Duong and Ham Tu, helping to reclaim the Tran dynasty's sovereignty from invaders. Pham Ngu Lao, a heroic commoner who rose from humble origins, renowned for his military command, archery skills, and lofty ambition. He became a symbol of the will to rise above one's status to serve the homeland. Kieu, the river warrior god, known for his extraordinary diving and swimming abilities, played a key role in destroying the enemy's navy, defending the nation's waters with silent yet fierce strength. Da Tuong, a mighty general who commanded war elephants, was a loyal companion of Hung Dao Vuong. He embodied the fierce power of the mountains and an unshakable loyalty. These individuals, from royalty to commoners, from land warriors to water heroes, together wrote an immortal epic of the Vietnamese people under the banner of the Tran Dynasty. Tran Quang Khai, 1241 to 1294, a supreme chancellor of both literary and martial excellence, a renowned anti-Yuan hero. Noble background and illustrious lineage. Tran Quang Khai was born in 1241, the third son of Emperor Trần Thái Tông and the younger brother of Emperor Trần Thánh Tông. He was also the paternal uncle of Emperor Trần Nhân Tông, the wise ruler who led Dai Viet during the Second and Third Resistance Wars against the Yuan invaders. Born into royalty and gifted with intelligence from a young age, Tran Quang Khai was raised and educated in the highest Confucian and martial traditions of the Tran court. From early youth, he demonstrated exceptional talents in both civil and military affairs. At the age of 20, he was appointed Grand Chancellor, taking on significant responsibilities in state and military affairs under the Tran emperors. With remarkable strategic skills and deep political insight, he quickly became one of the main pillars of the royal court. Key role in the Second Resistance against the Yuan, 1285. The Second Resistance War against the Mongol-Yuan invasion was a decisive moment in Vietnam's history. When the massive Yuan army led by Prince Togon entered Dai Viet in 1285, the situation became critical. The capital Thăng Long was lost, and both Emperor Trần Nhân Tông and the retired Emperor Trần Thánh Tông were forced to retreat. In this dire context, Tran Quang Khai was entrusted with command of the Southern Front. He proved his military genius by coordinating with other famed generals such as Tran Quoc Tuong, also known as Tran Hung Dao, to launch a bold counterattack. The battles of Trung Duong and Ham Tu marked the pinnacle of his military career. Alongside Tran Nhật Duat, Tran Cun Du, and Tran Quoc Tuong, he led troops to annihilate tens of thousands of Yuan soldiers, liberate the Red River Delta region, and regain strategic initiative on the battlefield. A virtuous and wise statesman. After the resounding victory, Tran Quang Khai was praised by the people as a national savior and was greatly trusted by the emperor and the royal court. He was appointed Supreme Chancellor and Grand Commander, holding all political and military authority just below the emperor. In this position, he helped stabilize the home front, reorganize domestic governance, recruit talent, and improve the lives of the people after the war. Tran Quang Khai was also a talented diplomat. He was sent to negotiate with the Yuan court and successfully conducted several diplomatic missions that helped Dai Viet maintain peace and sovereignty in the post-war era. A scholar-poet of great vision. In addition to being a brilliant general and statesman, Tran Quang Khai was a great poet of the Tran Dynasty. His poetry, rich in heroic spirit, reflected both patriotic fervor and the noble aspirations of a loyal man in turbulent times. In the poem Escorting the Emperor Back to the Capital, written after the victory over the Yuan and the return of the emperor to Thăng Long, he left behind immortal verses. Đoạt sao Trung Dương Do, cầm ho Ham Tu Quan, Thái Bình Tu Chi Luk, Vạn Ko Thu Giang San. Translation: Captured the ferry at Trung Duong, seized the enemy at Ham Tu. In times of peace, we must strive to safeguard this land for eternity. The poem is not only a celebration of victory, but also a call to duty in times of peace, a testament to his far-sighted vision and enduring philosophy. Final years and lasting legacy. Tran Quang Khai passed away in 1294 at the age of 53. Though his life was not long, his contributions to the nation were immense. A brilliant military commander, a model statesman, a poet of profound thought, and a loyal son of the Vietnamese people. His name is recorded in history and revered by generations as a divine protector of the nation. Many places in northern Vietnam still honor him with temples and shrines, most notably the Tran Temple in Vinh Bao, Hai Phong, and Tuk Mak Temple, Nam Dinh. Pham Ngu Lao, Wien 1255-1320, from a commoner to an eternal hero, humble origins, extraordinary ambition. Pham Ngu Lao was born in 1255 in Phu Ung village, Duong Hao district, Hai Duong region, now Phu Ung commune, Un Thi district, Hưng Yên province. He was not of noble descent, nor from the royal family. Pham Ngu Lao was merely a rural young man who made a living by weaving baskets. Yet within him burned an extraordinary spirit, a selfless patriotism that history forever reveres. Legend has it that one day, Tran Quang, known as Hung Dao Vuong, passed through Phu Ung and came across a young man sitting by the roadside, weaving baskets with a contemplative gaze, seemingly lost in deep thought. Even when soldiers tried to block his path, the young man remained undisturbed. Tran Quang found this strange, summoned him, and upon hearing his response that he was thinking about fighting the enemy, not about daily matters, he took him in, recommended him to Emperor Tran Tung, married him to his adopted daughter, and brought him into the ranks of the elite military officers. From that point on, Pham Ngu Lao entered official history, from a commoner to one of the key generals of the Tran Dynasty, considered on par with aristocratic commanders. Glorious achievements. A hero of all three anti-Yuan wars. Pham Ngu Lao was one of Tran Hung Dao's most trusted aides, fighting side by side with him in all three resistance wars against the Mongol Yuan invasions, 1258-1285, 1287-1288, critical moments that determined the fate of the nation. Second resistance, 1285, when the Yuan army, led by Prince Togon, invaded with over 500,000 troops, the entire country was in peril. Pham Ngu Lao took command of key military units, directly engaging in many intense battles. Along with generals like Tran Nhut Duat and Tran Quoc Tuan, he defended strategic bases and contributed to the counteroffensives at Chung Duong and Ham Tu, crushing both the enemy's navy and land forces. Third resistance, Taun 87 to 1288. In this campaign, Pham Ngu Lao again participated in critical battles at Vun Don and Bac Dung, where the Vietnamese forces achieved a monumental victory by sinking hundreds of enemy warships, capturing countless soldiers, and forcing the Yuan army into a chaotic retreat. He played a key role in ambushing, intercepting, and blocking Togon's escape route through the Lang Son forest. He was not only known as a valiant general, but also as a profound strategist who understood military doctrines and always placed the people at the heart of his service. Among the troops, he was deeply respected. Among the people, greatly loved. Unrivaled martial skill, master of both strategy and valor. Pham Ngu Lao was not only an excellent commander, but also a master of martial arts, especially in archery and horseback riding. People referred to him as the general who never lost a battle, a figure whose presence on the battlefield was as commanding as a divine warrior. He once led elite cavalry through mountains and forests at lightning speed, creating surprise attacks that terrified the Yuan forces. Thanks to his exceptional personal skills and leadership, Pham Ngu Lao became the embodiment of the ideal national soldier of the Tran era. Simple, loyal, brave, and fully dedicated to the country. Poetry and noble aspirations, an aura of heroism. Not only a great general, Pham Ngu Lao also left his mark in Vietnamese literary history. His poem, Tuat Hoai, Expression of Aspirations, is considered a declaration of national manhood. Nam Nhi Vi Liu Kong Deng Trai, Tu Thing Yun Jan Thuit Vu Ho. A man who has not repaid his debt of honor should feel ashamed to hear tales of Marquis Vu. These short lines reflect a grand ambition. A man must achieve glory and serve the nation, not live a mediocre life. He viewed Zhu Zhiliang, the brilliant Chinese strategist, as a role model for his own ideals, embracing both intellect and national responsibility. Loyal until his final breath, after decades of distinguished service, Pham Ngu Lao continued to be valued by the Tran court. He was promoted to Dinh Sui Thung Tung Quan, Chief Marshal, head of the military forces, subordinate only to Hung Dao Vuong and the emperor. He passed away in 1320 at the age of 65. Emperor Tran Minh deeply mourned his loss, personally presiding over the memorial rites and posthumously honoring him with the title Van Thay Trung Thun, loyal subject of 10,000 generations. Many regions built temples in his honor, revering him as a martial saint who protected villages. Especially in his hometown of Phu Ung, grand festivals are held annually to commemorate the contributions of this great Vietnamese hero. The embodiment of the Dai Viet spirit. Pham Ngu Lao stands as the most vivid proof that noble birth is not necessary to become a hero, only willpower and patriotism. He is a shining example of rising above one's circumstances through talent and ambition, a timeless role model for Vietnamese youth. In both folk tradition and official history, he remains the ideal hero, an undefeated warrior filled with humanity, patriotism, honor, and deep compassion. Yit Kieu, the underwater warrior, the river guardian of Dai Viet, born of the waters, a hero of the people. Yit Kieu's real name is unknown. He was born and raised in a fishing family in Hạ Bi village, Galuk district, Haidung prefecture, now in Haidung province. He was a child of the riverlands, where children grew up with paddles, waves, and deep diving in the rivers. From an early age, Yit Kieu displayed exceptional abilities. Extraordinary swimming skills, the ability to dive for hours, move like a fish, and weave through underwater caves and crevices with unmatched agility. Locals say he could stay submerged for tens of minutes without surfacing for air, with eyes sharp as a bird's and a body strong as a tiger. These talents not only made him the pride of his homeland, but also paved the way for his immortal legend in the resistance against the Mongol Yuan invasions. Elite naval commander under Tran Hung Dao. During the Mongol Yuan invasions, when the enemy deployed a mighty fleet, the Tran court urgently needed people who mastered the waterways and could carry out stealth operations. Yit Kieu quickly caught the eye of Tran Quoc Tuan, Hung Dao Vuong, who was building an elite special operations unit to wage guerrilla naval warfare. Soon after, Yit Kieu was appointed commander of a special naval unit tasked with the most difficult missions, sabotaging enemy ships, cutting sail ropes, sinking vessels, infiltrating camps by water, setting fire to supply depots, and rescuing besieged commanders by river routes. Yit Kieu and his comrade-in-arms Da Tuong formed a formidable duo that played a crucial role in neutralizing the naval strength of the Mongol forces. Brilliant achievements. The first naval commando in history. One of Yit Kieu's most resounding victories was his mission to infiltrate enemy camps and destroy warships, thereby disrupting the Mongol logistics and supply chain. The raid on Togon's camp. According to historical records, in 1285, when Prince Togon camped in the Gia Lum area, now part of Hanoi, Yit Kieu was assigned to dive across the river into the enemy base to sabotage their fleet and gather intelligence. On a cold night, he and a Suez squad silently swam through the waters, cut anchor ropes, drilled holes in ship bottoms oil, and set fire to supply warehouses, causing panic in the enemy camp and forcing a withdrawal. The Bac Dung River Battle, a deadly trap. In 1288, during the decisive battle on the Bac Dung River, where Tran Hung Dao laid steel-tipped stakes underwater, Yit Kieu and the special naval unit lured the enemy into the trap. He also took part in launching fire attacks and surprise ambushes from both riverbanks. As a result, the mighty Mongol fleet was crushed, hundreds of warships sank, and the river was filled with enemy corpses. These silent yet heroic feats by Yit Kieu helped the Tran Dynasty sever the enemy's supply lines by water, paving the way for Dai Viet's dominance in the war. A symbol of strength, loyalty, and sacrifice. Yit Kieu was not only a battlefield hero, but also a shining example of selfless national service carried out in silence and danger. He feared no hardship, ignored life and death, and remained utterly loyal to Tran Hung Dao and the Tran Dynasty. One tale recounts that when Hung Dao Vuong Vuong fell gravely ill, Yit Kieu wept at his bedside and vowed that if he could not save his commander, he would no longer wish to live. After his lord's death, Yit Kieu withdrew from court life, returned to his village, built a shrine for Hung Dao, and worshipped him daily. Recognition and commemoration. Yit Kieu was conferred the title Ngok Dung Tuong Quan by the royal court and generously rewarded after the victory. However, he did not seek luxury or status and lived a humble life in his hometown. People living along rivers and coasts from Haidong to Quang Ninh and Haiphong built temples to honor him. He is worshipped as a river god, the guardian of waterways, and is believed to protect fishermen, soldiers, and all who depend on the rivers. Today, his name graces roads, schools, and elite naval special forces units, places that train warriors just like he once was. Conclusion: the silent hero beneath the river. In the history of defending and building Vietnam, Yit Kieu symbolizes the intelligence and bravery of the common people. Not noble by birth, not glorified by words, but shining through silent, relentless action. He turned rivers into battlefields, shadows into advantages, and his body into a weapon against the enemy, contributing decisively to the Tran Dynasty's glorious victories. If Trần Hung Dao was the soul of the resistance strategy, then Yit Kieu was the dagger beneath the river, silent, precise, and deadly. Da Tuong, the legendary elephant general, loyal and steadfast. A humble name, extraordinary spirit. Da Tuong, this name was not his real name, but a title given by the people and recorded in history to describe one who commanded war elephants, one of the most dangerous and prestigious roles in ancient armies. In Sino-Vietnamese, Da means wild, Tuong means elephant. Da Tuong refers to one who commands wild elephants, a warrior who leads with the mighty beasts of the mountains. Though little is known about his origins, Da Tuong is known to be of common birth, absolutely loyal, and the most trusted companion in arms of Hung Dao Vuong Chung Quoc Tuan. From his youth, he followed Hung Dao Vuong on every march and into every major battle, from deep forest valleys to river plains. A battle general by the side of Hung Dao Vuong. Among Chung Quoc Tuan's forces, Da Tuong and Yit Kieu were the two most trusted generals, referred to by Hung Dao Vuong as his two right hands. While Yit Kieu was a god of naval warfare, Da Tuong was the soul of the Elephant Course, commanding heavy assault forces that broke enemy lines with overwhelming strength. Da Tuong trained and commanded war elephants for the Tran Dynasty, a job requiring immense bravery, wisdom, and patience. He once said, "To ride elephants into battle, one must first understand their temperament. Elephants can fear, love their masters, and grow angry, just like humans." Under his command, the war elephants were trained to charge into battlefields, break formations, trample enemy lines, and carve bloody paths for the Dai Viet army. War elephants, the terror of the Yuan army. In major battles, especially during the Second War against the Mongols in 1285, Da Tuong directly commanded the Elephant Corps, one of the most formidable weapons of that time. The elephants, armored in iron and carrying warriors armed with spears, crossbows, and battle axes, charged into enemy ranks like a flood. The Mongol army, accustomed to wide-open steppe battles and unfamiliar with war elephants, was terrified by Dai Viet's elephant forces. In terrains where naval and cavalry forces couldn't approach due to dense forests, Da Tuong used elephants to forge paths, pull artillery forward, and tear open enemy defenses. He also organized elephant support units for ambushes during counterattacks after the strategic withdrawal of Emperor Trun and the retired emperor. Loyal to his commander, uninterested in glory. Da Tuong was not only a skilled general, but also a model soldier. Loyal to his commander and devoted to his country, he served Hung Dao Vuong from youth until old age without ever leaving his side, regarded as the guardian spirit of the commander in every campaign. He once saved Hung Dao Vuong from encirclement, using his elephants to clear the escape route, even while being seriously wounded himself. When asked why he risked his life, Da Tuong simply replied, "I live for my country, for my commander. Even if I die, it would be an honor." Despite his many contributions, he never sought reward. After each victory, he returned to the camp earliest, continuing to train elephants, repair weapons, and maintain the elephant corps in full readiness. Virtuous and compassionate toward his soldiers. Da Tuong was known for his integrity, strict discipline, and deep care for his troops. He often shared his own rations, cared for elephants like his children, and treated his soldiers like family. In the army camp, he never stayed in separate large tents, but lived among his troops, eating, sleeping, and patrolling with them. As such, he was affectionately called Father Elephant. His character earned him the love of the troops and made him a symbol of camaraderie, discipline, and bravery, the very soul of a fearless army. Legacy and veneration. After the wars, Da Tuong remained in the military, helping stabilize the home front, training elephant troops, and passing on his skills to the next generations. Upon his death, the Tran court held an official state funeral, conferring upon him the title Tuong Tuong Dai Vuong, and decreed many villages to honor him. Temples dedicated to him were built across the land, especially in his homeland Hai Duong, where he is revered as the village protector, the guardian of elephants, and a patron of veteran warriors. The name Da Tuong has since been given to military units, barracks, and streets, a lasting reminder of the hero who entered history on the footsteps of war elephants. Conclusion: echoes of valor across 1,000 years. In the proud history of Vietnam, Da Tuong stands as a symbol of strength born from the people, of unwavering loyalty, and of unconditional service. He cared not for fame, desired no luxury, and fought for something greater than himself. For the country, the people, his commander, and justice. If Hung Dao Vuong was the great tree of resistance, then Da Tuong was the strong roots clinging to the earth, feeding life to the legacy. He lived simply, died gloriously, and lives on eternally in the heart of motherland Dai Viet. The four pillars of the Tran Dynasty, eternal symbols of patriotism and the spirit of Dai Viet. The 13th and 14th centuries were a time of great turbulence as Dai Viet faced the most powerful invading force in the world, the Mongol Yuan army. In that harsh crucible of history, the Tran Dynasty rose not only through the wisdom of its emperors, but also through the gathering of extraordinary heroes, those who shed blood to enrich the golden pages of the nation's history. Among them, Tran Quang Khai, Pham Ngu Lao, Kieu, and Da Tuong stood as four steadfast pillars, representing all social classes, unyielding will, and the united strength of the Vietnamese people. Tran Quang Khai, a royal prince of both civil and military brilliance, was not only an outstanding military commander, but also a strategic thinker with deep political insight. With masterful leadership and burning patriotism, he played a vital role in the great victories at Chung Duong and Ham Tu, becoming a shining example of intellectual responsibility during times of turmoil. Pham Ngu Lao, the cloth-clad hero who emerged from the common people, was living proof of the truth. One need not be of noble birth, only great ambition is required to become a pillar of the nation. He symbolized the Vietnamese ideal, courageous, loyal, and determined to serve the country with his very life. Kieu, the silent god of the rivers, who turned his body into a weapon, used darkness as an ally, and made the riverbed his battlefield. He embodied the strength of the common folk and represented the unsung warriors whose contributions were pivotal to every national victory. Da Tuong, the elephant commander who brought the might of the mountains to the battlefield, stood shoulder to shoulder with Hung Dao Vuong in every campaign. He symbolized loyalty and the deep bond between army and people, a great heart hidden beneath a humble warrior's uniform. Four individuals, four fates, four social classes, yet all united under one banner, the banner of Dai Viet, where patriotism, loyalty, and the longing for national independence transcended all origins and personal glory. A legacy passed down through the ages. Today, though centuries have passed, the Dong A spirit forged by the Tran Dynasty's legendary generals still lives on in the heart of the nation. They are spiritual monuments for generations of Vietnamese to follow, ideal role models in teaching patriotism, community-oriented ideals, and resilience in the face of hardship. From sacred temples to streets, schools, and military units bearing their names, the images of Tran Quang Khai, Pham Ngu Lao, Kieu, and Da Tuong remain vivid in the national consciousness, as guardians of history who keep alive the spirit of the people in every era.